of Halloween reviews on the Cartoon Palooza as we start today on October 20. What the hell? Whoa, what have I been doing this whole time? I should have been doing this early on. Okay, so maybe I've been slacking off a little bit this month, but hey, better late than never, right? Will this mean I'll have time to watch the crappy Nick Swardson raunch fest that gives R-rated animated films a bad rep? Probably not. Or will I have time to see one of the most iconic team-ups between Scooby-Doo and the Harlem Globetrotters? No. So what's that gonna leave me? What cartoon is good enough to talk about on Halloween? Something spooky, well-renowned. On November 2014, Cartoon Network released Over the Garden Wall. This was billed as their first miniseries event, unless you include the shows Cartoon Network canceled before their prime. It was created by Adventure Time storyman Patrick McGale, and has a fantastic list of talents such as the voices of Elijah Wood, Christopher Lloyd, John Cleese, and Tim Curry. It also features the art direction of Nick Cross. While most people know him for his work on the Ren and Stimpy Adult Party episodes, and directing the Pigcoat Banana Cricket pilot, he gets most of his cred for his independent work. He has a talent for taking bright, silly, cartoony imagery and giving it a dark and twisted turn. Really dark and really twisted. The show itself, which I won't spoil since it's a great story you should experience for yourself, is about two young boys trying to find their way back home through a mysterious land called the Unknown. They encounter a talking bluebird named Beatrice, who claims to have been human once, offering to help our heroes find their way home. There's also a woodsman played by Christopher Lloyd, which whom they bump into on occasion, making him one of the more recurring characters on the show. The villages within the Unknown vary from talking jack-o'-lanterns with an extremely dark backstory to a teacher trying to train animals to act like humans in a much lighter tone. I love how bipolar the show's tone can get. One minute it can be creepy, and the next you got a little boy singing potatoes and molasses to a bunch of animals. I'd love to see the child watching this smiling, giggling one moment, and then crapping bricks the next. It's good storytelling like this that challenges its audience perception and emotions that most good family programming does, and Disney's been capitalizing for years. The one thing I love about this show are the characters. This show goes out of its way to develop all of its characters, even the ones that are one note. Even characters that don't spend a lot of time on screen get their chance to shine. Wirt and his brother Greg are our heroes, but like most animated duos that Pixar has perfected for over 2 decades, believe it or not, they care about each other, but they got their share of quarrels. Wirt is somewhat self-absorbed to the point where it makes it hard for him to get out of his own head, while Greg's mind races as often as he changes his frog's name. One thing that makes it more developed is having them be half-brothers. They don't run away from the fact that Wirt has a resentment towards Greg's father for marrying his mother. Granted, they take the Disney route and don't show us the family, but doing that would take away too much time from other characters and scenarios they encounter. I love how this show can make you challenge which characters you can trust and the ones you can't. Sadly, this is a Cartoon Network show, and having the good guy stay good and the bad guy stay bad is somewhat consistent. However, in recent years with shows like Adventure Time, we have seen shows that at least challenge our thinking towards who are the good guys and who aren't. With this show, there are two. For Beatrice, we don't know at first if she's telling the truth or not. Since there are other anthropomorphic animals in the series, how do we know that she's not telling the truth? Add on the fact that she's very quick to con, steal, and swindle other people. Having a character like this in a land that's already full of mystery makes it easier for the viewer to question, much like our heroes, if she's good to keep around or not. The same goes for the woodsman. He seems moody, questionable in his actions, and makes us think that he's hiding something important. But at the very least, he does seem to care about our heroes. It's the ebbs and flows of good and bad intentions that challenged me the first time, to the point where I was always wondering where this would go. In fact, there are whole episodes dedicated to bait and switch moments that make us think we're dealing with villains, and then find out later that it isn't what it seems. Which episodes are those? Again, I'm not telling. You seriously need to check this out for yourself. However, the biggest thing this show has going for it are its influences. This show is stock full of Easter eggs, allusions, and comparisons to other works of media. In fact, rather than just talk about a couple, I figured it'd be fun to list off some of the influences I feel impacted Over the Garden Wall. So, without further ado, here are the top 5 media influences to Over the Garden Wall, as according to me. For number 5, we had one most people didn't think of, but for me, it was The Brave Little Toaster. Both the film and the miniseries share the same shift in tones, as well as the story of a group of characters finding their way back home, encountering both the wacky and insane, and the dark and gut-wrenching moments all at the same time. For number 4, the golden age of animation, going as early as the Laugh-O-Gram cartoons by Ub Iwerks and Walt Disney, to the 1930s Fleischer cartoons. One episode takes imagery similar to the Fleischer animated Snow White short, all the while another episode directly takes influence from Alice shorts by Ub Iwerks and Disney. Speaking of Alice, number 3, Alice in Wonderland, the original tale of a young hero navigating her way back through a world of unknown logic, challenging her thoughts and worldview in the process. The art style is even easy to compare to John Tenniel's illustrations. Number 2, Spirited Away, mostly in part with a stubborn child who has to overcome her own hubris while high stakes are at hand, making each choice she makes a direct outcome for either herself or others she cares about. And finally, the number 1 comparison for Over the Garden Wall to other media is Dante's Inferno. Wait, what? No, I'm being serious. There were many moments where the book you most likely read in AP class or college had a lot to do with the children's series Over the Garden Wall. The first part of the Divine Comedy, Dante is a poet who travels through the circles of hell to find his beloved Beatrice. He's joined by Virgil, who helps him guide his way through the pits of hell. To no surprise, Wirt is also a self-proclaimed poet, trying to navigate his way back home with his own heart set on somebody. The other roles are where things get a little confused, and influence is a more appropriate word to use than direct adaptation. Gray can be seen like Virgil, but because Beatrice has a better idea of guiding the two, she can fit the role as well. And this is ignoring the fact that her name is directly shared with a character from Dante's Inferno. Which brings us to whom the devil is. Again, no spoiling, but when your antagonist eventually shows up in full form, it makes it totally worth it. I had such a blast seeing this for the first time, actively thinking of that story. It made it impossible not to think of the Divine Comedy when watching Over the Garden Wall. And this is one of the few reasons why Over the Garden Wall is not just a good Halloween cartoon, but overall a great cartoon on Cartoon Network. This is saying a lot considering the network has great programming as it is. Over the Garden Wall is packed with emotion. I can't stress that enough. All I gotta say is you gotta check it out this Halloween. And at the very least, check it out during the autumn. I'd go as far as to say that a lot of these shots is not just a love letter to autumn, but I'd go as far as to say that it's like autumn porn, if there ever was a thing. Seeing a single shot of a leaf fall is enough for a person to want to grab a flannel shirt and pumpkin spice latte. I also think it was a brilliant move for Cartoon Network to make it a miniseries. It was not too long to have to include filler episodes, but it wasn't too short to miss out on important details. Miniseries are becoming increasingly popular, and we could probably thank the internet for that. Online streaming has made binge watching almost like a requirement. Because the show manages to be long enough to want to finish to the end, it makes it perfect to watch on Netflix or Hulu. Cartoon Network should consider making more miniseries in the future, because as it is a worth watching experience times 10. Again, I apologize for the lack of videos I posted this month. And I guess to make up for it, you know those movies I mentioned before? What if I posted an occasional vlog or a written review on my Facebook page to those movies just to let you guys know what I thought of them? Comment below and let me know what you think. I'm Joey Tedesco, and thanks for watching this Halloween review on the Cartoon Palooza.